Hey guys, Brandon here. Recapping the Jags-Eagles game. I'm not going to keep it too long because I kind of want to dive into another topic, but quick thoughts. Unfortunate loss. The elements took a toll on both teams. I think the Eagles were more prepared. They're playing at home. They got the fan base with them. They're used to those elements. I would say they have some experience practicing and even playing in that. You could see it took a toll on the team. Some people were shell shocked. I think Christian Kirk looked lost out there. I don't think he's ever played in a game with that much rain before. But I'm not, too upset about it. I figured by week 5 we'd be 2-2. I think the two losses that we would have came to the Chargers and the Eagles, but we just happened to beat the Chargers. So still kind of on track for what I think is a 9-8 season. So still very optimistic. I think a 9-8 season will get us a chance to win the division. Just seeing how the rest of the AFC South is performing. But I don't really want to focus too much on the game. Obviously there's the turnovers you can mention. There's, some play calling that, you would have hoped to be a little bit different in the second and third quarters running the ball. But overall, I can't be mad too much. I just, obviously want Trevor Lawrence to play better, take care of the ball. I think if he does that, we have a very good chance of winning the game. It's just unfortunate you move on and that's it. But for this video, I really want to look at the game from a perspective of what can we do to attack teams and what can we do to take away from opposing teams on defense. If I'm looking at the offense, what can we do to attack teams? What did we learn the past 4 weeks? In my opinion, we have very good speed skill positions that can work well, doing double moves or even working out of the flat and kind of making a big game. So if I'm the Jags moving forward, what would I try to scheme open? What would I try to put into the game plan? If I'm the Jags, I'm looking at how do I get Travis Etienne the ball more? How do I get him involved in the passing game? Same applies to Jamal Agnew. I would love it if I had James Robinson lined up in the backfield. You have Travis Etienne on one side playing a receiver, Jamal Agnew on the other side playing receiver, and maybe throw in, like a Zay Jones on the outside as well. And try to run some more jet sweeps. Try to get them to cross the formation and scheme them open, because I feel like our speed positions, we could be taking advantage of that way more. Maybe even throwing some more deep balls to these guys. We're just not hitting them right now, but I think that's something that we could totally incorporate into the offense. Something I would really look forward to in the coming weeks if we're able to do that. Another thing on offense I'm hoping we can do, and a player that I'm looking at to kind of drive this, is exactly the play that we had where we're kind of tossing it out, and then we have either to Jamal Agnew, whoever, and we have our tackles who are athletic. I think, in my view, compared to the rest of the league, they're relatively athletic. So what I would do is have them kick out and go lead block, do a little bit more screens. I feel like, in some cases they were working pretty well. I feel like you can do that way more. So getting these quick outs, getting the running backs more involved in the passing game, I think can help Trevor Lawrence. It'll help lower the amount of time he holds onto the ball. If he has more check down options, he can get the ball out quicker. I think that'll help his rhythm. That'll help him be in more sync and give him some more confidence to hit some other throws. So those are some 2 things that come to mind. And then ultimately, more than anything, I agree with like most people. I don't think you need to overdo it, but definitely give James Robinson some more carries. He's shown that he can work really well in between the tackles. I feel like you don't have to always throw it first down. It seems like we were always doing that. You can mix it up. It becomes a little predictable, but I do get the point of why Peterson does it. He wants to get the lead and then have a huge lead, so that it's almost like there's no chance for the other team to come back, and then just run the clock out and kill the game that way. Can't always work that way. You kind of have to know your opponent. Hey, they're probably going to be in a tight one with us this game. So let's get up as a relatively healthy amount, and then we got to start incorporating the run game a little bit earlier on. That's just some things I took away. I did like to see Dan Arnold get a little bit more involved. That was a good sign. I think you got to incorporate him in the tight ends significantly more in the passing game. That'll be great. But again, this is wishful thinking for some things. I don't think you need to necessarily rely so much on your outside receivers like Zay Jones and Marvin Jones too much. I like working out of the slot. I like working to these tight ends, the running backs. I feel like if we make them the key part of our offense, it could really, take off and do even better than what we've seen so far. So that's my thoughts for the offense. I'm looking forward that they can make those adjustments and improve in the coming weeks. Excited for them. I think they played pretty well against a good Philadelphia defense. Again, I'm not too upset with the loss. I'm more upset with the Commanders' loss, if I'm being honest. But, it kind of was a dud for me, and it felt like it. I felt like they didn't come out right. And I just felt like, even with they're up 14, I'm like, Philly's going to find a way to get back in this game, and they sure enough did. I thought it was going to be a little bit slightly higher scoring, but, it is what it is. I think each defense showed some character, and, props to Philly for the defense that they played on the day. I think they tried playing us a little bit tighter, and, good on them for doing so. So moving to the defense, I feel like I don't put the loss on them, and I don't feel like the players necessarily played bad. I can only say a couple times that it seemed like, some linebackers were caught off of a assignment a little bit and kind of missed some run fits. So, it just made it seem like the tackling was way more poor because they're coming in at more difficult angles. They, if they're not, taking the gap the right way, or they're, coming off a block, it just seemed like they struggled with the offensive line of Philadelphia, and rightfully so. It's a great offensive line. I said in a previous video, and tweet that, I think what carries Philadelphia's offense is their offensive line and their outside threats, and the tight ends. I'm not particularly too, concerned with what Jalen Hurts can do and what Miles Sanders can do, but I think, they were very cohesive as a unit on the day. They really moved, shifted. If, we're running a lot of stunts, they handled the stunts really well. They shifted their assignments on the offensive line very well. They negated our pass rush, I think, throughout the game in some areas. So I got to give them a lot of credit. But, I feel like the defense, this is something that they needed to have happen, a reality check for them. It's a very good learning experience because they went against a running quarterback, something that you can't really say that they, yes, they went against Herbert, but I don't think he was going to be running much that game because he was playing hurt. Same thing with Carson Wentz. He can run a little bit, but that's not really his forte in the game. So I think this is good preparation for what we might experience later on in the year if we play Lamar Jackson in the Ravens game, Russell Wilson for the Denver game. I think this is good preparation for that. So I'm hoping they can learn from this and, definitely try to play their assignments a little bit more when it comes to spying on the QB and making sure that they have him accounted for, especially if he's a running quarterback. So things I would look for on game planning, on what we need to improve on for the defense and what we can kind of take advantage. I think let's throw in some more linebacker blitzes. Not necessarily just, hey, we have Trayvon Walker coming off the edge, or we have Josh Allen come off the edge on the other side and just relying on that. I'd like to see a cornerback come blitz on occasion. I want to see Devin Lloyd blitz more. I feel like we could use him, for pass rush, and he'll have the ability to do pretty well. So that's one thing I'm looking at. Another thing I'm looking at also is, I want to see the Jaguars start shifting in and rotating in more guys on the defensive line. I want to keep the guys fresh. This game was kind of evidence that if you keep them in too long, like I said in the first video I made about the Commanders game, we don't have a lot of huge guys that are 300 pounds plus. That's going to hold the point of attack late in the game. If we're tired, if Fotukasi's injured, tired, Devon Hamilton injured, tired, anything like that, we're really going to struggle against the run late into the game, and that showed. It really did. When we needed to get stops in the run game, it wasn't happening. So, if this is a lesson learned, let's elevate a guy from the practice squad, Israel Antwine, drop whoever we need to, but have him rotate in. I think now more than ever, that just shows you, hey, we can be good against the run if we keep our guys fresh. First 3 games of the season, when we were ahead or, not the other team, we controlled, the time of possession. Our run defense was stout. We could be first in the league. But, when it flips the other way, when we're not controlling time of possession, guess what? Little by little, we start to kind of lose the strength of, our run defense, I think. So that's something I would take away from this game, something we could start doing more. And the last thing, I think we could start playing a little bit single high safeties more. For me, I feel like, I trust Andre Sisco's range to be able to handle that. I see sometimes the benefit of having Rayshawn Jenkins in the game, but to me, he's not much of a difference maker. I'd rather have another pass rusher, another linebacker, another nickel corner in for coverage purposes rather than having a two safeties high with Rayshawn Jenkins back there. Or even if he's playing in the box, I don't see him being a huge run stuffer. So, I feel like you can trust Andre Sisco a little bit more. He did have that interception. I don't particularly think he's the greatest against the run, but, I feel like, having another linebacker in, another maybe physical corner in, big physical corner in, if we can maybe use, you're not going to get Claybrooks or Herndon, but maybe like a Monteric Brown, who's a little bit bigger, get them in there, sure. Give some other opportunities, because I feel like after Rayshawn Jenkins' contract, he's not coming back. If anything, I don't even know if we'll be on the squad next year. If I'm cutting anybody for next year, I hate to say this, but probably Jamal Agnew. I feel like you could draft a shifty, quick wide receiver that's small in stature, who can return punts and be a receiver for you. I'm specifically looking at someone like Zay Flowers. Google him if you've never heard the name. Hey guys, sorry, my video cut out. My battery died when I was already recording. But what I was saying was, Zay Flowers, I think, could be a good alternative to Jamal Agnew, and you could get someone like him in the draft for next year. But for me, I'm looking at if I need to restructure people, I'm definitely going for Rayshawn Jenkins first. If he won't restructure, I'm probably letting him go. I'm letting Jamal Agnew go. Tyler Shatley, I'm letting him go. I'm going to try and keep Roy Robertson Harris. I think he's got a lot of grit. He plays tough. I like his mentality. I think he's a great teammate to the guys on the team. He elevates the play of other players. So to me, I would try to keep him around. And right now, I'm still 50-50 on Shaq Griffin. Can you replace someone like him in the draft? You're going to need a high draft pick to do that. And we don't necessarily have, the need so high there. I think there's a higher need on the offensive side, probably with a tight end, receiver, or offensive lineman. So are you going to get a quality, starter as your first or second corner, in the second, third round? I don't know. So, I think, the jury's not out on him yet. But yeah, that's what I would target. And for the things I would do, I think that kind of wraps it up in terms of what I would do from a defensive standpoint. But, I like to try and give some of these guys some more chances, especially if we get high up on a team in a game like the Chargers, for example. I think with the game we have coming up against the Texans, I think that's going to be a blowout win for us. If we are up by a lot, let's start giving some of these guys some looks. It doesn't hurt, especially if we're up significantly. I think it'd be a good experience for them. So that's my 2 cents on the game. Please, comment, subscribe. Let me know if there's something even you want me to cover and talk about. I'd be more than happy to do that. I do have planned at some point late in the year, a buddy for mine for Baltimore. He's a Ravens fan. I'm going to probably do a live stream with him, see if he'd be okay doing it. I got to talk to him first, but that'd be a cool game. I think it'll probably be our most important game of the year, honestly. If we can, shut down the Ravens offense, probably, in my opinion, the most dangerous, not necessarily, an offense that's going to scare you every single week, but if Lamar Jackson's on, that's the scariest offense in the NFL, I think. More so than the Bills and more so than the Chiefs. People are going to probably want to take my head for that, but I really do think that. I think that he's just another level when he's on. And they're tough. They're a tough team, so I'm excited for that game. Heck, I might even, if I can, I might even try to stream some other games, with maybe some other fans. But, let's see where this goes. But, again, thanks for watching. And, hope to give you another one soon. Bye.